Welcome back to Genesis Does, right here on the Mr. MegaManFan channel, and thank you to all of my 870 plus subscribers. This is Rocket Knight Adventures by Konami for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. Introducing the mightiest mammal to ever rocket to stardom. He's courageous, he's clever, he's one good-looking opossum. It's Sparkster, the Rocket Knight. Coincidentally, the game that was released as a sequel is also called Sparkster, and that was available on Super Nintendo if I remember correctly, but this one is not, which means it is a case of Genesis does what Nintendon't. Look at that old school 1-900 hint line. I wonder how much they charged per minute. They even said on there, make sure you have your parents' permission to call. This cartridge looks beautiful. It is a piece of gorgeousness. No tearing on the label, no stains. Now, this manual, on the other hand, it looks good at first, but once you open it up, you can see there is a lot of scribbling on the inside, some tearing on some pages, and a few stains here and there. It's not perfect. It's okay, but it's complete in box, so that's not too bad. You can see some ink marks there. You can see somebody wrote customers today. Maybe this one came from a rental store for all I know. Why they would scribble on the manual instead of a piece of paper, I have no idea. Nor do I know what 1, 2, 3, 4 means. Anyway, let's put this back inside of the box and let's actually play the game, shall we? This is one of my all-time favorite Sega Genesis games, and if you've never seen Rocket Knight Adventures before, I think you're in for a treat on today's episode. We start out, as always, with a Sega logo. Now, my friend Ryan did suggest using a program called MonoSnap, but unfortunately it appears that the free version does not enable all features, so that was not a successful way to record. What I had to do was combine Audio Hijack Pro with QuickTime Player, and then sync the two together in iMovie so that I could capture this gameplay without the reflection of my CRT into the camera, which is what I did for Dynamite Duke, and this time I'll actually have sound from the game, which I hope is in sync. I tested it before I recorded this voiceover, and it looked okay to me, but if you notice any issues, please let me know, because I'm always striving to improve the quality of these videos, in particular the Genesis Does series, which I have taken a very much liking to since I started it. As you can see, our opossum, wearing his knight armor, is running sideways. It's a platforming type of game at the start. He's attacking these pigs wearing armor, and they go flying when he hits them with his flying sword, and he can also rocket into the air and hang onto trees as well, because he's an opossum, of course, and he can slide back and forth on the tree branches when he does. Now here, groups of pigs have taken mechanized cars and driven them towards our protagonist, but his sword is so strong he can mow down vehicles easily. And when you power up his rocket jump, you can boost yourself over walls and obstacles and even boost your way into enemies and hit them. So that's why he is the Rocket Knight, because he's not just an opossum with armor, which would be an awesome enough concept in itself. No, not Awesome Possum Kicks Dr. Makinos, but this opossum really is awesome. Just look at the way he can fly around the screen. I mean, zoom, off he goes. It's a Rocket Knight adventure, all right. Now we've got these walkers, which remind me of Star Wars, and they're piloted by pigs, and once again, you mow them down with your sword because you're way stronger than all of the enemies, except for the boss fights, of course. They take more than a few hits, but even these mechanized pig walkers are pretty easy to chop down. In fact, more of the challenge comes from timing your rocket jumps. As you can see here, I missed the timing and didn't quite make it over the wall there. And there's also some parts where you can collect power-ups, these apples, regain your health, And if you swing and jump correctly, you can also get a 1-up over here. You have to time it just right for when you just are about to slide off of the bridge. But I missed. So let's try that again. There we go, 1-up collected. Now I have 3 extra lives instead of just 2. I can rocket boost up here, slide off that branch, and there will be a group of enemies, the final group before the first boss of the game. As you can see, you can double hit these pigs. Once they lose their armor, you can hit them a second time for more points, which really doesn't change anything, but it's just a fun thing to do. And it reminds me of Battletoads, where you could hit an enemy multiple times once it was flying through the air. And in fact, if you did it in the Wrecking Ball area and hit them over and over again, you could boost it up to the point where you'd collect a 1-up. But chaining those combos together in Battletoads is very hard to do. It may look like I just defeated this boss, but that's only his first stage. As both you and he are falling through the air, he starts rebounding off the edges of the screen, and you kind of pong or break out him by hitting him with your charged up sword each time he comes near you. Hit him enough times and he blows up for real, and then this first part of the mission is over. But then you have a whole new mission to complete before you move on to the next chapter of the game, and that's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. These flying insectoid-looking things with pig balloons are coming towards you, and you just fire your charged-up sword at them and take them all out one by one. And once you clear all of these out of the screen, there will be another boss fight, which is all about the timing. It reminds me of the water snakes from Mega Man X. The two of them that are in Launch Octopus's stage. It's very similar in its attack and build, because you see it's waving up and down towards you. Now you don't knock segments of it off, and you don't shoot the tail of it. You actually shoot the head. So I say similar, but not the same. It gives me that feeling because you see it coming out of the water and swimming through the water in a wave-like pattern. So it reminds me of the one from X just a little bit. So you just have to time it when it leaps up to shoot it in the head. Sometimes if you're lucky, you can get 2 or 3 hits on it in one pass, as I just did there. And if you were really lucky, you can even get a hit on it right when it comes out of the water at the beginning. But that's super risky because you can lose all of your health if you time it wrong. So I prefer to wait until he jumps out of the water. It's a much safer way to go. And it should take 1 more hit. That's it. Now, our hero does something really fun here. He backs up and zoom powers straight through the castle wall. Impressive. That is one strong opossum. He can break down walls, he can take down pigs, he can destroy mechanized pig walkers. What can't the Rocket Knight adventurer do? Our hero Sparkster knows no bounds. Now these pigs are in some distress, but that doesn't stop them from being enemies. Sure, they're on fire, but they're still going to hurt you if they run into you, so you're not trying to save them, you're still trying to knock them down. You power up the rocket, bounce off the walls, and then you have a forced auto-scrolling, and this fire will hurt you badly if you don't get behind a wall and duck down. And you have to time this too, because the auto-scroll will trap you at the edge of the screen if you're not careful, and then you'll die. So you can die either way. You can die from the fire, or you can die from the auto-scroll. You can lose, and then you can lose. Those are your options. But successfully, I have completed the auto-scrolling portion, and now we have another rocket rebound where you pick up the crystals as you bounce off of each of these walls. They're just a little bonus to get some extra points. Not that it really affects your adventure. In fact, the score is really secondary to just exploring and playing. It's kind of like, I used Mega Man X as an example, but this is Mega Man 1, where you don't even need the score. Who cares about the points? Nobody's recording a high score for this. It's all about the adventure. It's all about exploration. So rebound off the wall here, land in this upper area. These pigs are chasing me with their butts on fire, and one hit and I'll be dead. But thankfully I got past most of those. Let's see if I can get in the door without taking a hit. Yep. And there's a gift. What could it be? Oh, it's a pig in a box. It's a pig in a box. It's a pig in a box, baby. 1. Put a pig in a box. 2. Give Rocket Knight the box. 3. Then you die from the box. And that's how the heck you do it. It's a pig in a box. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. I will see you next time for Genesis Does.